Hi everyone and welcome back to the Hero of Kendrickstone. Oh my god, what episode are we on now? Is it like 7 or 8? Maybe 6? It can't be as low as 6, I reckon it must be about, 7 or 8. Look what happened last time. We killed lots of people last time, didn't we? Yeah, we turned up in the woods and bad things, terrible things ensued after we turned up in the woods. We made the wrong choice really. We are on a quest. We're on a quest to find these ruins, which we have just found ourselves in right now. If you weren't here last time, we came across them just before we left for that episode. But right now, excuse me. But right now, on our journey, we found a couple of men's attacking a cart, and we had a choice whether or not to save the cart driver and his family, or to save the knight who was trying to help them, who we had been side quested to go and find. And we chose to save the knight as per our side quest, and we got the achievement murderer because everyone died. So, apart from the knight, and the knight was all sad, but we did it. We came out and we did our thing, and I think we deserve a bit of credit for that. Anyway, here we are, and we're back. The Hero of Kendrickstone continues. And we have to decide how to deal with coming across this camp. Charging into the midst of the camp to collect the sample the court wizard needs would obviously be suicidal, but surely there should be some other way in. All you need to do after all is get close enough to chip off a bit of the stone. You could try employing stealth. The underbrush extends to within 10 paces of the flowering court ruin itself, though the real trick would be keeping yourself hidden long enough to find and pry away a sample. Alternatively, you could ambush one of the bandits as he or she comes out, perhaps to relieve themselves. Just jumping while he's taking a pee. That's totally me, if we can't want to do that. Then you could take their clothing and simply walk in. That might work as long as you make a convincing show of it. You must also consider that you now know the location of the bandit camp. Is it really worth taking the risk to finish this job when you have the information that could save the city? Maybe it would be best if you hedged your bets and returned to Kendrickstone. So what do? I'm going to disguise myself as one of the bandits. Oh, we gotta go in. We're going in, big time, and we're a bard as well, so we've got a little bit of acting skill. So I think we should get in there. You make up your mind, but before you can move, something strange happens. The ruin in front of you begins to glow, not the even luminescent glow that you're used to, but more a glimmer, like you feel in the sunlight. The light grows until the forest around you is bathed in the unmistakable blue nimbus of magic. At the centre of it stands a tall man in a black robe, his face like the pale shadow of a skull and his arms raised high and radiant with the nimbus of sorcery. The bandits crouch and curl up like bacon shrivelling on a hot pan. They cover their faces as the light grows brighter and brighter. Soon the light is too bright for you to look at as well. You avert your eyes for a moment. When you look back, the entire bandit camp and all within it are gone, as if swept from the smooth floor of the stone circle. Ah! Come on! I totally wanted to go in there with our take the guy out while he was going for a wee. Oh, come on, man. With the bandit camp mysteriously gone, your task becomes a trivial one. All you have to do is walk up to the ruined stone circle and chip off a piece. You hammer a crack in the ruin with the pommel of your knife. Silvery blue veins flare bright across the stone every time you strike it, but even with its magical properties, you need only a few moments to chip away a piece the size of your thumb. At first you wonder how you're ever going to find your way back to Kendrickstone through the thick underbrush and tangled forest paths, but it seems the court wizard planned for that eventuality. The second you pick up the piece of stone you've prized away from the ruin, the pull on the wizard's tracking knob slackens and dies, and then picks up again in the opposite direction. Even so guided, it takes you most of the rest of the day to pick your way through the forest. It's slow going, and only luck keeps you from being accosted by wild animals, or worse, more bandits, as you make your way back, following the orb's ever stronger pull. The sun is low in the sky by the time you finally escape the forest into clear ground. The road that took you to the forest in the morning is barely a few hundred paces away from where you emerge. From there, it is only a few minutes walk back to the gates. Achieve! We got Magic Place. Achievement unlocked. When you ascend upon the flying platform to the top of Kendrickstone's Wizard Tower, you find Eisen waiting for you, his eyes intent, alert and focused. Evidently he used your jaunt into the forest as an excuse to get some sleep. "Do you have it?" he asks, his voice expectant. You reach into your belt pouch and pull out the small piece of stone you retrieved earlier that day. The wizard plucks it from your hands and with barely restrained eagerness, his eyes narrow in scrutiny as he brings it up for a closer look. Yes, yes, very good, he mutters to himself, and then turns to you. This is an excellent sample, boy. I trust it was not too much trouble to acquire. No trouble with mentioning there isn't anything I can handle. There wasn't anything I couldn't handle, I say, brushing my fingers against my shoulder. Eisen nods curtly. Very good then. Seems your answer was enough to satisfy whatever curiosity he might have had. The wizard moves on with barely even the space of a breath. You had no other trouble beyond that, I trust? You shake your head. No, but you relate what you saw at the stone ruin. As soon as you mention the bandit camp, the court wizard's eyes go wide. His sorcerer's legs scuttle backward, knocking over stacks of papers and books. Hurriedly, Eisen grabs a half-empty notebook, a pen, and an inkpot from his desk. Start again from the beginning, he demands, his voice suddenly razor-sharp. Tell me everything. For the next half hour, the wizard writes furiously as you relate to him what happened when you encountered the bandit camp within the Flowering Court ruin. He stops you almost every sentence to ask questions ranging from the obvious to the absolutely nonsensical. You understand why Eisen would want to know how many tents and people were inside the camp and how long the spell used to make them vanish took to cast, but why would he care about the absence of underbrush around the circle or the lack of leaves on the trees? Finally, the court wizard seems satisfied with your account. He stoppers his inkpot, sets his pen down, and puts his notebook away. I will need you to report this to the Duke personally, but that can wait. First, I must see you compensated. Oh, damn right. Eisen pulls out a strong box from under his desk. I can offer you gold if you wish it. I also have a set of enchanted rings from my collection, each able to make you more skilled or powerful. I would be happy to offer you one. The wizard pauses in thought for a moment, stroking his beard. Perhaps it is not wealth or magical items you wish, but recognition for your deeds. I could certainly put in a good word in your report to his grace if you wish. Ooh, well, last time we had this choice, we took the recommendation and became a squire, didn't we? Let's, this time, I think we're gonna, yeah, recommend me. Yeah, we're gonna take recommendation again. The wizard nods. It shall be done, you have my word. The wizard lets you savour your reward for only a few short moments before returning to his customary manner. Now, he says in a matter-of-factly as ever, I will require silence and solitude. I am sure your knightly mistress awaits your return to the keep. Best you get going. That's a dismissal if ever you've heard one. So you step back onto the platform that will take you down to the exit and leave the wizard to his work. Dame Mildred is waiting for you when you arrive back at the keep, still in her armour. Sir Edmund already returned when I returned to the city, she says as you walk through the gates. He tells me you were the one that found him, that saved him from a bandit ambush. Your knightly mistress hesitates for a moment. He did seem rather distraught when he came in. He told me you chose to save him over a family of refugees he was trying to protect. Is this true? You nod. Dame Mildred purses her lips. Decisions like that aren't to be made lightly. I can't say I'm entirely glad you chose the way you did, but one good man is still alive today because of you, and that is worth something. See, we did our job. You can't scrutinise us. After you deliver a brief report, you head down to the guard room for a much-needed meal. Over your shoulder you can hear the hushed voices of the other squires and servants, and some of the knights too. Some of them are talking about Sir Edmund, how he went herring off on a foolhardy scheme to fight the bandits himself, only to return not only with his own hide, but covered in blood of bandits. The rest are talking about something entirely different. As the story went from the man himself, Sir Edmund had been hard pressed by a large force of brigands. Indeed, he would have perished in that battle were it not for the heroic actions of a young adventurer who came to the stricken knight's aid and saved his life. You. Get in. We're finally getting a little bit of recognition. By morning you have no doubt that every guard and knight in the keep will know the story. By the end of the week, the whole city will. Until then, though, with your limbs aching and your belly full, you have no other thought but to your bed. It's a long day, and with both spring and the city's doom under the bandits' stranglehold soon at hand, you have no doubt there will be longer days to come. Oh, chapter 7, Dire Tidings. Woo! Shit, this does not sound good. That's not... You spend the next month watching the city die. Oh, well, there it is. Even as the world outside the walls bursts with the robust greenery of spring, Kendrickstone withers within its stone bulwarks. The caravans that normally come every spring to rejuvenate the city are now nowhere to be seen. The roads are too dangerous, and the bandits in the woods seem to be everywhere at once. Without trade from the outside, the city cannot grow enough food to feed itself, let alone maintain anything but save the bare essentials of existence. The last of the shops close, and the alehouses and taverns are empty at night. Every day, more houses lie abandoned as their inhabitants flee in a desperate bid to escape the spiralling deprivation. Every day, the pulse of the city grows fainter. With every day, the city's demise draws closer at hand. As soon as the last of the snow melts, the patrols begin again, only this time, every single servant and squire must ride out with their knights. Even common wall guards are pulled from their posts in a desperate attempt to increase the number of sorties and reclaim the roads. The futility of such attempts becomes apparent within a week or two. No matter how heavily the knights and their retinues patrol the roads, the bandits always seem to be a step ahead, striking when the patrols are past, and disappearing into the woods, leaving only the corpses and the ransacked cats of those brave or foolish enough to take the roads to Kendrickstone. The mood in the guard room grows more and more tense, more and more desperate. Though you and your fellow servants of the Knights of Kendrickstone are still fed from the Duke's own stockpiles, and housed within the walls of the keep, the impending demise of the city they have sworn to protect, you have sworn to protect, weighs heavily on everyone. Your mistress seems to become even more driven, more determined, more grimly set to end the bandit threat. She pushes for more patrols and more training. Thankfully, you're strong enough to keep up, and your knowledge of the woods around the city grows rapidly. Every night, you return to the keep exhausted, and every morning you wake up again to do the same, seemingly pointless. Your life has become an endless, grinding routine, a losing war against an enemy you cannot find. That is, until one morning. Dame Mildred is waiting for you in the courtyard, as always. This time, however, she's dressed not in her mail and surcoat, but in a court dress, soft hose and a belted ankle-length gown in the colours of Somerset. "Johnny Nero," she calls out as you approach. "This morning's training is cancelled. Go back inside and change to the best clothes you have." That stops you in your tracks. Dame Mildred hasn't let anything interrupt morning training in a month. "What's going on?" you ask. The knight reaches into her sleeve and pulls out a folded piece of vellum. "The Duke of Kendrickstone is holding a council meeting in an hour, and we've been invited." You've never seen the Duke's private council chambers before, even though you have spent entirely a year living in Kendrickstone's keep. You have never once seen that inner sanctum where the ruler of the city makes his most important decisions. Honestly, you expected something bigger. After the tall, imposing arch of the keep's main entrance and the vaulted expanse of the great hall, the council chamber is simply a room, no bigger than the inside of a peasant's cottage. The only things that give it away its significance are the guards at the two doors and the faint blue glow of the protective wards along each wall. At the centre is a small oaken table with a handful of heavy, high-backed chairs around it. Already the places around the table are filled by three others. Two of the other faces are familiar. William of Hollowford is dressed in a robe and mantle expensive enough to bankrupt most minor nobles. Eisen of Coriolandus wears not Coriolandan garb, but what you suppose is his official uniform as court wizard. Last of all, there is, of course, the Duke of Kendrickstone himself. Leothric II, II, Duke of Kendrickstone, would have once been an immense man, tall and bull-shouldered. Even still, you can see the remnants of the mighty muscles with which he once made his name as a great hero. Now, though, age has taken all but the remnants. Duke Leothric is an old man, and his years and responsibilities have greyed his hair, wrinkled his brow, and stooped his back. An assassin took one of his arms not 5 years ago, and nearly 40 years of rule seems to have taken much else besides. Still, the Duke is impressive, not for his long-aged body, but for the power he still wields and the reputation he once forged alongside his companions like Elaine of Somerset. What do you think of him? What do we think of the Duke of Kendrickstone? I'm honoured. The Duke did much good as a hero. I seek to follow his example. He was better off as a veteran. Everything the old man has I want. No, I don't want to be like that. We're not like that. The Duke did much good as a hero. I seek to follow his example. You keep your thoughts from your face as you approach the table. The guards step outside and close the doors behind them as you and your mentor take your places. "My friends," the Duke begins, his voice deep and resonant, even through the mustiness of age. "You all know of our city's plight. For a year now these bandits in black have plagued the people of our city, first as a mere nuisance, then as a major threat, and now as a danger to Kendrickstone's very existence. Our efforts to combat this scourge have been great." He spares Dame Mildred a meaningful glance. "But not enough. Now, as our city stands on the brink of annihilation, They send us their demands. The Duke produces a scroll, tattered and stained, but still very much legible. This message was attached to an arrow shot from the woods. It reads thus: To His Grace, Duke Leofric of Kendrickstone, know that my forces have your city's very life within its hands. No trade, no supplies, and no help will come to Kendrickstone unless I will it. Open your gates and submit to me, and we may speak of your city's continued survival. Refuse this first and only offer, and you shall watch your people starve and your city crumble to nothing. Milius Blackclad. Ooh. Ooh. Damn, we're going to leave it there. I think that is a good place to leave it. We've had a threat from the people, from the bandits outside the gate. So what have we done? Today we have earned the respect of the court wizard. He has given us a good word in with the Duke of Kendrickstone, whom we are now sat around a table with, only to be told that the bandits have demanded from us our surrender. Are we going to surrender? Who knows? We'll have to come back to this next time, because I'm out of time for today. So thank you very much once again for listening. I can't really say watching because you're not watching a right lot, but thank you very much for listening to me witter on again and read through the Hero of Kendrickstone. Chapter 7 we're on now. So God, we must be pushing there. We must be getting to the end now. Thank you again for watching, and leave a like, leave comments, and be so kind as to subscribe. That would be absolutely amazing. And I will see you next time for more Hero of Kendrickstone.